Just a 413-mile drive to the northwest of last week's race at Daytona sits the chaotic and, frankly, psychotic younger brother of Daytona International Speedway. We are here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, host of round 2 of the OB Builders Cup Series and the Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine 250. And boy, we are already in contention for name of the year right there. Absolutely love this name for this race, but after a chaotic first race, we touched down just south of Atlanta, Georgia for what is expected to be just as chaotic, if not more chaotic, as this first race as we get going here in the Moonshiners Racing League. And it is me, Nick Stein, alongside Brandon Edstrom here with you tonight. A little bit of a new voice as compared to last week for the Daytona race. He'll be subbing in and out here as needed here for the OB Builders Cup Series. But Brandon, welcome on in. It's been a couple of years, man.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate it. Thank you guys for bringing me on once again. It's good to be back. And as we're zooming in here on the Google Earth version of Atlanta Motor Speedway, this track was originally built in 1959 and 1960. The reconfiguration was completed in 1997, where they finally added that beautiful tri-oval. But then they decided we're going to do it all over again, repave it, reprofile it to now the 28-degree banking that we started receiving in 2021. A little over 2,300 feet, including the dogleg on the front straightaway, 1,800 feet down the back straightaway. So we'll see a lot of runs that are going to be short kept, but they'll definitely be crazy runs. 163 laps here tonight. Stages are on the completion of lap 40 and 80. One green, white checkered with 100% fuel, Nick.
Yeah, you can see our schedule up here right now. Of course, race number 2 of the points-paying races here this season. Next week, we'll head to Dakota with Phoenix the week after. But right now, sitting at the Atlanta 250, and like I said, it is expected to be an absolute barn burner of a race. We remember back to last week at Daytona and how that race went. And I mean, that was just a beast mode performance domination last week, if we're being honest here. And we can pull up the points real quick, and you can just see how chaotic and how dominant it was for Beast Mode performance, as Beast Mode ended up taking both stages last week. I believe it was Kenny Coppola taking stage 1, and then Shane Davis taking stage 2, with Brandon Bikey taking the win overall. And you can see the points up here. Beast Mode performance 1, 2, 3 up top. And I do have a feeling we can already kind of decipher out our two, I guess, bigger teams in this race, because if you look at last week, it was Beast Mode and Dig Esports were your two dominating teams. So we'll have to see kind of, you know, having a second plate track, how that's going to work into, you know, team dynamics and what all will happen, especially as we get later into this race, as we know what happened last week.
Yeah, and these guys will definitely have an advantage throughout the race. I mean, just looking in the Discord, the numbers that they have are absolutely ridiculous. And at Atlanta, just like at Daytona and Talladega, it's all about the numbers game. But with that numbers game, Nick, can come trouble coming onto pit road. I want to point out, it's similar to Atlanta pit entry in real life, but there's no speed limit at the entry of pit road. So we'll be seeing speeds anywhere from 110 to 130 miles an hour to those who really want to send it down pit road. And the pit road speed line does not start until the original pit road start on the front straightaway. So it'll be really interesting tonight to see how these big teams manage their strategy if we do have green flag pit stops. But you hit the nail on the head, Nick. These two teams are going to be at each other's throats all night. And who knows? It could cause drama. It could cause controversy, but we'll just have to wait and see.
It's all about waiting and finding out here as we wait to see who gets our pole position here. Right now, Alex Coffey sitting on pole position with a 31.011. He's got Shane Davis right behind him with a 31.037. Really tight up front, as I mean, you look down, oh my goodness. From first down to about 15th is all within the same tenth of a second bracket. So times are close here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, but it looks like we're official for qualifying, as not anyone else having any time to set any laps. So it looks like it's going to be Alex Coffey taking your All About Sheet Metal pole award here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Oh, and one more little tidbit here for this race. Stages sitting at lap 40 and lap 80 tonight. Lap 40 and lap 80 are when points will be paid out. But we have rolled over into the race session here, 163 laps ahead of us. Alex Coffey, your pole sitter. Shane Davis, your outside pole sitter. And we'll get your starting grid here in just a second as we wait for everyone to get gridded up here on pit. As we'll go ahead and go through our starting lineup here tonight. Alex Coffey sits on your pole position. Shane Davis outside pole, as previously mentioned. Randy Mullins in that number 54 machine sits third position tonight. He was one of your better pushers at Daytona last week, so keep an eye on him to get some lines going here. Paul Gallimore to his outside in that fourth spot. He's shown some pace throughout Daytona and Speed Weeks, but we'll have to see if he can finally break through. Blaine Wilson finished third at Daytona, starts fifth in that number 18 Dig Esports. That's the first of your Dig Esports cars right there. Brandon Bikey, your Daytona winner, starts sixth here tonight. Nicholas Atwood in the 91 starts seventh, with Matt Cox in eighth. Tim Wortman Jr. in the 83 starting in the ninth spot. And Kenny Coppola, your Daytona Stage 1 winner, starts off 10th.
The number 9 machine of Jeffrey Taylor will start on the inside row starting 11th tonight, with Victor Pfluger starting in 12th in that 43 machine. And we got Brandon Fetterplace in the 34 machine starting 13th. 14th will be the 28 machine of Brian Curry. Good old Johnny Shade in that 45 machine rolling off P15 with a 31.099. Matt Macklin starting 16th on his outside. Sean Rogers starting 17th in the 44. Jordan Schmitz 18th in that 22 machine. Now we're starting to roll into the 31 ones. Then we got Nigel Christensen. Big old Christopher Bell fan running that number 20. And rounding out the top 20 will be Corey Moore in the 42 machine.
Chad Sullivan, a new name into the league, starting 21st tonight, did not start Daytona. Colt Bleskowski in that number 8 machine starts 22nd. Justin Belmonte in the number 60, who showed a lot of pace last week at Daytona, starts deep in the field once again, starts 23rd here tonight. Gavin Ruff, we also saw him up front at Daytona after before getting involved in a couple of wrecks. He starts 24th here tonight. Jared Clark in the number 21 had a rough Daytona, but starts 25th. Looks to have a better showing here tonight. Barry Sanders in 26th. Hunter Carmichael starts 27th. Jamison Middlemiss, there's a name a lot of people haven't heard in a while. He starts in 28th position here tonight. Aaron Matthews starts in 29th, and Darren Mills rounds out your top 30.
Getting through them quick, the 74 of Chris Davis will be starting 31st. Chris Spear in the 7 machine, 32nd. Shane Wyatt, Warren Young, Ryan Huff, and Preston A. Puryear all rounding out your 36-car field. And one thing we forgot to bring up, Nick, the winner of this race will be getting some of Crazy Chuck's Moonshine.
Yeah, that just adds on to the legend of this name. I saw this race name here tonight, and I got a smile on my face because I knew we were going to have fun all night being able to say it. And it's just such a fun name to say. The Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus 250 here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Got one more pace lap before we set these guys loose in stage number 1. And fuel, not going to be an issue here tonight, as stages are only 40 and 80, so no fuel saving whatsoever here tonight from Atlanta.
Oh, man, and what a race this is going to be. I want to thank everybody here at brand new Ballin' TV. DJ doing his thing, all the leagues supporting him. Thank you, Sean, our producer, for bringing me on. Nick, it's so glad to be back with you. The last time I can remember all these familiar names was when we called WRL before the configuration, and this one, I have a feeling, will be just as good.
Oh, yeah, and you have a lot of people that were in that race, in this race as well, so a lot of good things expected here tonight as we get ready for 163 laps of plate racing at Daytona's, I like to call it, psychotic younger brother here at Atlanta. One of my favorite ways to describe this place is it is literally chaos on the box here at Atlanta. Runs are going to be faster, pushes are going to be more aggressive, and just reaction time is going to be tested here tonight as pace car lights are out on said pace car, and it is getting ready to pull off the track here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It'll be in the hands of Alex Coffey and Shane Davis up front as they wait for the green flag to come out. Speak of the devil, green flag out in the air here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and Randy Mullins already pushing the 19 of Alex Coffey, trying to get that inside line going and get these Dig Esports cars up front early.
Yeah, and that's going to be really important throughout the race tonight. If we have a lot of restarts, those lines getting the runs with the pushes, but you'll be able to see the outside line here. If they can get formed up, I mean, there's a little bit of a separation between the 19 and the 54 of Coffey and Mullins between the third car in line, which is the 18 car of Blaine Wilson. But as I come through 3 and 4 for the first time, looks like Alex Coffey will lead the first lap of tonight's race.
and it did not take him long to get up to speed at all. It took him just to get into turn 3. They were already at full speed, and now first full speed lap through turns 1 and 2. Coffee and Mullins take it up to the top line, which is the more preferred line, by the way, so keep an eye out for that. It was the same way at Daytona. We really saw that outside line become the more dominant line, but Nicholas Atwood on the bottom, he's got Randy Mullins pushing him, trying to make a little bit of noise on this inside line.
2 by 2 throughout the whole field. This is what it's going to be like all night long. Alex Coffey leading lap 2 here tonight as they go down into turn 1. You made a good point, Nick. The outside line is the preferred line, but after a while, you're going to start burning those right side tires off as the new fastest lap was hit by Shane Wyatt with a 29.4. But you're going to see the inside line can work. We've made it work before. We made it work all last week in the Opens. It can work, but that outside line will carry momentum. As a matter of fact, they're side by side with Alex Coffey for the lead right now, coming off of turn 4.
Atwood had the momentum through 3 and 4, but dies off as he doesn't have the help coming through the tri-oval. He's going to lose a couple of spots heading down into turn number 1. But here comes that inside line once again, and tonight is going to be a big game of saving tires. We're going to say it a lot tonight. These guys are going to need to save that right front tire, especially that right sides. Just in general, they really need to save these tires in order to be able to make it a full fuel run, because Atlanta, while it may be plate formation, you're not flat out all the way around like you are at Daytona and Talladega.
Yeah, not only that, not only do you have to save tires, but you have to save the air on the front end of these cars too. We saw a few cars blowing up in practice, just seeing how far can they push before they have to let off. And finally, the 54 of Randy Mullins gets off the back bumper of Alex Coffey, who was glued to him the entire time from the start of the race until now. Still side by side all the way throughout the field. Coffey, Atwood, Mullins, Wortman, and Wilson round out your top 5.
Coming off of turn number 4, Atwood's going to lead this lap. It looks like, yes, we have a brand new leader here tonight at Atlanta. First official lead change of the event, but it's quickly going to be taken back by Alex Coffey. Atwood led his first lap of the season just right there in that number 91 Beast Mode Performance Machine, leading that inside line, but you got the Dig Esports pairing of Alex Coffey and Blaine Wilson with Randy Mullins sandwiched in between them on that top line.
Kelly Coffey just made a good point. The mother of Alex Coffey, Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine 250 here at Atlanta. As a matter of fact, Alex Coffey has a paint scheme on his number 19 machine. If we could get a close-up of that, showing off the name sponsor of today's race, as the 91 gets a push down onto the apron from the 83. And that's another thing that we're going to make a point of a lot tonight, Nick, is those bad pushes coming off the bottom. The car can get a little loose, as we're looking at an up-close view of Alex Coffey and that Chuck's, or Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine. That's a mouthful. That's going to get hard to say, but yeah, that's a really big thing that you got to look out for, is those pushes on the inside line. If that front car gets loose and they go below the apron, it's going to upset that car. That whole entire inside line is going to check up, and that's when all hell will break loose.
Inside line working their way back up to be even with this outside line. Mullins, though, really making his money as a pusher right now. It was really, like, we really figured out that Randy Mullins was a good pusher last week at Daytona, and now he's just putting an encore performance on early on here at Atlanta as he pushes Alex Coffey back out to a solo lead heading down into turn number 1. And been a pretty, I'm going to go ahead and say it, been a pretty chill start for an Atlanta race, in my professional, but not so professional opinion, though.
Well, it's a professional opinion. It's just a virtual opinion. That's all. There's, I mean, honestly, honestly, the only reason why that we ever really see the Cup cars go 3 wide as much as they do in real life is because they're fuel saving, which again makes no sense, but it's the real life Cup series, and when does anything make sense in the real life Cup series? But these guys have it down right now. We have a smaller pack in the back. I don't know if they're saving fuel or just thinking, man, maybe these guys up front are getting a little too much with it. As you can see, Randy Mullins beating the hell out of that back bumper of the 19 machine of Alex Coffey. But no, these guys got it down 2 by 2, giving each other room. No one's pushing the pusher. Everything's going just fine. Like you said, Nick, very calm for an Atlanta race. But for these stages, I promise you, people are going to want these stage points. And at the end of the race, that's when we're going to start to see the 3 wide and a lot of people put in uncomfortable positions.
Oh, yeah, I was just getting ready to bring that up. Stage number 1. Oh, we actually got a caution on the track. We got people spinning way back in the pack. I didn't quite catch a number.
Yeah, the 22 car of Jordan Schmeetz is involved. 14 car of Calvin Ruff also involved. have to go back and take a look at exactly what happened, but we just saw a puff of smoke coming up off of 2, and all of a sudden, all the cars started going around. But I hate to bring it up, Nick. Commentators jinx. We just jinxed it. It was calm. And now the chaos theory. Is it going to continue? I hate to bring it up, but here we are.
It always manages to come up as we look at the replay here. Kevin Ruff and Jordan Schmeets. Oh, this looks like it started up in front of him. Nigel Christensen, we may be a lap early on this replay.
We are. We should be. We're coming into turn 1 now, and it was on the exit of turn 2.
You see Christensen here. Accordion effect. Just nowhere to go for anyone behind Jordan Schmeets. That's Kevin Ruff. That's...
Ooh, and Shane Wyatt squeezing through the middle, 3 wide. I don't know how much damage, if any damage at all, but that 23 machine of Shane Wyatt in the sim wrap market. I mean, my lord, if we could get an onboard of that, he got squeezed right through the middle, barely made it through. And it doesn't look like he's got too much damage on that thing.
Yeah, there's Warren Young, another one involved in that. Corey Moore as well. And Kevin Ruff were behind Jordan Schmeets at the time of that wreck. And this is kind of where it all ensued as we go on board with the 23 of Shane Wyatt. This is off of turn number 4, and you can just see how much energy is in this pack. Just look at this energy, and you can see how quickly they wreck and how little time you have to react here.
Yeah, and we had just brought it up, the accordion effect. This is how fast things can change, and I mean,
wow.
Yeah. Talk about a good missed opportunity. I mean, he had an opportunity to be jumped before this race had really even started. And he did a really good job wheeling that thing through the middle 3 wide, getting pinched from all directions. But yeah, Nick, that's how the accordion effect works. We had just talked about it a few laps prior. I mean, you come up on these cars quick. We're going 180 plus miles an hour at a track that was originally a 1.5 mile just regular speedway, but now with it being a super speedway, as you like to call it, Daytona's evil little brother, that just happens. Usually at Daytona, you don't have a lot of time to react either, but man, what a wreck.
Yeah, that is exemplified here at Atlanta. I mean, they said it best on the national broadcast for the Cup race this weekend. I mean, cut your reaction time in half, and that's about what you need here at Atlanta as compared to Daytona and Talladega. And I mean, Exhibit A right there. I mean, Shane Wyatt barely makes it through that, and honestly, that was lucky. He got very lucky getting out of that wreck unscathed.
Yeah, and the thing is about Atlanta, too, if you're going to have a big wreck like this, you're going to want it to be on the front straightaway, slide through the grass. But you'll see on the back straightaway, as compared to Daytona and Talladega, they have no room to slide. If someone spins going down to the inside, they're going to hit that wall. And with how iRacing's physics are, Nick, we've seen it before. Sometimes the cars can boomerang faster up onto the track than they were sliding down onto the wall. I mean, you can see just right here how short of a time they have from the racing surface down to the wall. So keep an eye on that tonight as well, the wall on the inside line going down that back straightaway.
Yeah, and we're 1 to green here, coming back to a restart on lap number 14 out of 163, heading towards heading towards the end of stage number 1 at lap number 40. And things are calm now, and they were calm up until that first accident with the commentator's curse, unfortunately, there. But we'll get back to green flag racing here at Atlanta as the pace car gets ready to make that sharp left turn back down onto the safety of pit road. And it will be in the hands once again of the 19 of Alex Coffey. Will he get back up in front of Randy Mullins and keep that outside line going? We shall see here in just a second, but green flag back out in the air. Inside line gets another great jump. Coffey has to stay low until they get past the start-finish line, and it looks like he's going to stick with his teammate in the 18 of Blaine Wilson.
Yeah, what a restart by the 19 machine of Alex Coffey. And we bring it up all the time, and it sounds a little nerdy, but all of these guys are in the same Discord, and they can all count down the restarts. And when you have a teammate behind you, that helps a lot. But Alex Coffey looks like he's going to stay to the high side with the 54 of Randy Mullins. And here comes Blaine Wilson on the inside to the lead. New leader, the 18 machine. Now he goes top in front of Alex Coffey.
Moves up in front of his teammate on the inside line. Tim Wortman and Shane Davis now lead the inside line. Got Dig Esports, the top 2 cars on the top line, and just one beast mode performance on that inside line. But he's got another one behind Randy Mullins. I believe that's Jeffrey Taylor, the number 9 on that inside line. But that outside line is moving with a sense of purpose now that the Dig Esports teammates are hooked up.
Blaine Wilson, Alex Coffey, Shane Davis, Mullins, and Wortman round out your top 5 coming down the front straightaway. Going on to lap 17 here. It's going to be interesting to see all night the lane changes like we just saw later on in the race. Alex Coffey isn't going to be able to let his teammate up like he did there, because if he did, it's just going to create that accordion getting loose on the bottom with Shane Davis. But that's just how it's going to happen. Later on in the race, you're going to see these cars not give as much give as they are early on now. But later in the race, if he were to try to pull something like that, someone in the back's going to make it 3 wide. Someone's going to get into the wall. Something will happen. They're just very lucky that it's early on in the race.
Yeah, and there's an old school saying here for plate racing, and it's going to become ever more true here at Atlanta. Take all you want, but give nothing. We're going to see that here later on tonight, but I feel like it's going to be relatively, at least people are going to start to play nice for the first, I would say, probably 90% of this race. But once we get into that final 20-25 laps here, as Blaine Wilson almost gets turned off the front of Alex Coffey off of turn number 4, Shane Davis would lead that lap. But as I was saying, it looks like they're going to play a little bit of give and take, but do not be surprised if later on in this race it becomes a lot more take and a lot less give.
Yeah, and I'm not seeing the outside line as aggressively side draft as we normally see, as we see a car go below the red line. That's the 9 car of Jeffrey Taylor. Almost just got absolutely destroyed in front of the whole field. But I'm not seeing the outside line side draft as much as we normally see. It's early on. There's not really a reason to. But later on in the race, Nick, we keep saying it, it's going to pick up. We're going to see the aggressive side drafts. If you're out of line on the front straightaway and someone can get a nose beneath you, they're going to do it. But for right now,
Blaine Wilson just almost got turned off of turn number 2. Through the sucker hole goes that number 18, and nobody is going to go down to help him here. He does find a place in line, but Blaine Wilson gets lucky on that outside line.
Now, I don't know how big of a hit that was, but his rear end is missing. We have seen those glitches in the past before, where the rear end of the car will be missing and then it will come back and then it will disappear again, so on and so forth. But you just have to ask yourself, how much damage is that going to hurt him? Because it looks like he can't even suck up to the car in front of him. And even right off of turn 2 there, he looked pretty loose.
I was going to say, I've noticed that for a couple of laps now. I was getting ready to bring it up, and he almost got turned off of turn number 2 there. So I'm not sure where the rear bumper went for the 18 of Blaine Wilson, as we almost have a car get into the wall going into turn number 1. Would have been the 32, I believe, of Matt Cox, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was Matt Cox who almost went up into the wall in turn number 1. But still working down the back stretch. We'll look at a replay here of what happened.
Yeah, we were just looking at the replay, and that replay didn't show anything of Blaine Wilson's bumper magically disappearing, but now it looks like the bumper's back on. Maybe not. We'll find out when they go by this time. The bumper is still indeed missing. But that's so strange how things like that can happen, but we actually get a good view of the fuel cell in there and all that other good stuff. Now, Blaine Wilson doesn't want us to see in there, but unfortunately we can, as we're coming to the completion of lap 23. 2 by 2 throughout the whole field, coming through turns 3 and 4. Shane Davis and Alex Coffey still battling side by side, and we'll have to see what's going to happen with this lap car coming up, Nick.
Lap car here into turn number 1. Outside line moves up. Shane Davis makes the room for Randy Mullins. Does not give a care in the world. That inside line now running the middle line. Lap car decides to get out of the way, and it looks like everyone's going to make it through safely. And wow, Shane Davis not messing around there, but they are 3 wide further back in the field. We've got 3 wide through 3 and 4.
3 wide coming off a turn 4. Lap car is going to stay low, then come back on the track. And these drivers don't want to see this. 2 by 2 in front of them. If they get 3 wide and separated, this pack will pull away. But I think right now they're okay. They have 1 car in between them that will help them keep the draft. 2 by 2 down the back straightaway. 3 wide is now gone. Coffey, Davis, Wortman, Mullins, and Cox round out your top 5 with Taylor, Coppola, Atwood, Bikey, and Christensen rounding out your top 10.
Coming up to 15 to go here in stage number 1. And it has been a chaotic start to this race. Shane Davis, Alex Coffey up front. Pushers are Tim Wortman and Randy Mullins on this inside and outside line. And things, you could feel the energy is already starting to kick up, and we're just coming to the end of a stage, Brandon.
Yeah, and look at this. 2 separate packs, like I said, forming up now.
Matt Cox takes it 3 wide to the outside of Randy Mullins, and he's got a lot of help behind him.
3 wide through the middle. Randy Mullins, he has no help with him. Oh my goodness, 3 wide. Alex Coffey now, he's going to be shuffled to the sucker hole. 3 wide coming off of 2 down the back straightaway here at Atlanta. We're going to see cars shuffling all over the place here tonight. When can Alex Coffey drop in line? He does so there. The 32 up top with the 77 behind him. Brandon Bikey almost gets into the back of the 77, turns him around, but they keep it straight as they come into turn 1.
And Shane Davis just got very lucky there as he no longer has anyone fighting for the lead. Alex Coffey and Randy Mullins, though, they're trying to already to get a second lane forming here. And it's only 3 cars, but they do have some help behind.
Some help behind them. Single file in the front pack. And then you see 2 by 2 further up, and then another pack even farther back beyond them. Single file down the front straightaway. Alex Coffey is going to try to do everything he can to get back to the front. Knowing Alex Coffey, he wants to be up there. This is not the place that you want to be. Even in P8 at Atlanta, you want to be up front. You do not want to be in the middle of the pack when something up front could happen. And oh man, it looks like things are starting to get heated up.
Oh, we got a car on the wall, lap car in the wall. Alex Coffey having to squeeze through the middle there. Does get a little bit of momentum actually going there for that second line. Still only 2 cars for Alex Coffey and Randy Mullins. They need to work on getting some help going for that outside line if they want to take a chance at fighting Shane Davis for the win here in stage number 1. As we're crossing, car sideways off of turn number 2, hard into the inside wall. Did not catch who that was, but somebody just smashed the inside wall.
I believe that was the 43 machine of Victor Pfluger. I mean, he hit that wall a ton. I don't know if there's a toe link broken, but it looks like coming back up on the track, the car was crab walking a little bit. He's going to go down pit road, but he's also, I believe, going to get a pit entry violation for missing the commitment cone. I mean, yeah, you can see the left side. He hit that wall a ton. He must have hit it at least 175 miles an hour coming off of 2.
Get a look at the replay here. What happened to Victor Pfluger? This is coming off of turn number 4, and it happened coming off of 2. Pfluger in that number 43. Yeah, it looks like this is the right incident. It looks like it just gets loose. Oh no, Gallimore comes down.
The 11 comes down and bam.
Oh, he broadsided it. He got lucky. He broadsided that wall.
Yeah, he broadsided it, but right there when the car's wiggling like that, that's what made me think maybe he had a toe link broken. These cars are notorious for that. But if he had a toe link broken going around that turn, he would have been in a lot of trouble.
Don't look now. That outside line has a little bit more help now as Nigel Christensen hops up with Alex Coffey and Randy Mullins. They got Matt Cox behind him. Preston Purrier a little bit further back, trying to suck up and give a little bit more help to that outside line. But we've got a 5-car breakaway up front.
5-car breakaway up front. Shane P. Davis, Wortman, Taylor, and Atwood all trying to battle for this stage win with less than 10 laps to go. Alex Coffey pushing the hell out of Nigel Christensen, almost turns him going into turn 1 and 2. Shane P. Davis still holds the lead. The 14 car on the outside is going to stay up against the wall, 2 by 2, and Alex Coffey is not going to quit. With how he's pushing Nigel Christensen, give it half a lap, and they'll be up there.
You see off of our blimp cam there, that breakaway of 5 cars up front. It's up closing pretty rapidly here as we got 6 to go here in stage number 1. Shane Davis still leads this 5-car breakaway, but Christensen and the rest of this pack are starting to catch back up to this breakaway. Christensen leaves the inside line, probably trying to generate a little bit of a run for the outside, but no, that outside line's going to die off through 3 and 4, but here comes Coffey with a huge run to the outside.
Coffey with a huge run to the outside. Christensen and Mullins both left him on the high side. He has 1 car helping him out. as they go down into turn number 1. The 83 car up front is still pushing Shane P. Davis, but that outside line only has 3 cars. They're not going to be able to make it work unless the inside line checks up. But we're on lap 36, stages on the completion of lap 40, so it'll show 41 on the ticker, and they're going to want these 10 stage points.
Coming off of turn number 4 to take 4 to go here in stage number 1. No one on this little breakaway on the inside deciding to step out of line just yet. But this outside line needs somebody to step out if they want a chance at catching Shane Davis for this stage win off of turn number 2. Wortman still glued to the rear end of that number 79. Almost a 4-car breakaway now up front as that outside line still trying everything they can to just get any sort of momentum going. And that just proves how hard it is to build a run here at Atlanta, especially on that outside line.
If Mullins can get up to one of the cars in that lead pack and side draft them, start picking them off one by one, they can get around them quicker than they think. But Christensen is not helping out the case as they're 2 by 2. Now, Christensen is the one that left this top side to go down to the bottom. If I was Nigel, I would have stayed up top and let Alex Coffey push me up front. You can see Mullins side drafting the quarter panel of the 20, and he was up to the 8 the last lap. You can see just how much this high side is starting to go away. As Christensen, he must have heard me. He decides to go back up top, and there goes another car with him.
Got another car up top. That's the number, I believe, 44 of Sean Rogers coming up top, trying to get this outside line going. 2 to go here in stage number 1. Shane Davis still your leader through turns 3 and 4. As you got Nigel Christensen pushing Sean Rogers for everything it is worth on that top line. Rogers gets loose, but they come to take the white flag in stage number 1. Does not look like that outside line is going to get anywhere close as Colt Bliskowski decides to pull out of this lead pack, trying to make a little bit of a move for himself through turns 1 and 2. Still nobody. They're wrecking Bliskowski around on the apron. No caution. Caution will fly here as Colt Bliskowski goes for a spin on the back stretch, and that's going to end stage number 1.
I think the 11 car got the worst of that, was around in the corner, smacked up against somebody else, came back down the track. Don't know if anybody else hit him after that. Looks like he's got some heavy damage on that left front. It's going to be Paul Gallimore. Thought he was going to come down pit road, decided not to. Some people over the radio not happy with each other. We might have had a bad bump. Something might have gone wrong. Let's take a look at this replay and see what happened.
Unofficially, Shane Davis does win stage number 1. We're waiting for an official announcement, but we're pretty sure Shane Davis wins that as we get a look at the replay here. This is the entire field spreading out as they take the white flag in stage number 1. You see Colt Bliskowski pop out there a little bit further up, and that's where our wreck starts. As Bliskowski gets turned off turn number 2, actually gets loose and gets into another beast mode car. And a single car spin for Bliskowski, that could have been a lot bigger than it was.
Oh, you see, this is where the 11 car got involved after the crash was already over. Bam, there's some damage to the front end of Shane Wyatt. And that's the thing about these restrictor plate races for Shane. You're not going to get lucky twice. You can get lucky once, but it's all about wreck avoidance after that. And now I can see why Gallimore was a little upset, but that all started coming off of turn 4 the previous lap. Nigel Christensen got a bad bump, made it 3 wide through the middle, and it created all of that going down into turn 1 and turn 2. Whether it be the accordion effect or just not enough room on the racetrack, you hate to see that for the 11 car after a solo car spin getting taken out into the turn 3 wall.
All right, it is official. Shane Davis did win stage number 1 there. Tim Wortman Jr. comes home in second spot. And we'll get a full top 10 here as soon as we can. But Shane Davis and Tim Wortman were 1-2 for sure in stage number 1.
And here are some driver cams for tonight. In the blue shirt in the upper left-hand corner, that's going to be Tim Wortman Jr. And the green shirt with the VR headset on, that's going to be Brandon Bikey. And I believe we did have Sean Rogers here at some point. That still might be Sean Rogers. He did have green LEDs on at one point, but I think he turned them off. And I believe that's our good friend Shane Wyatt in the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, a lot calmer on the driver cams now that we're under caution than I'm assuming it would be under green, as it looks like a lot less focus and a little bit more laid back there for some of your drivers there. But we get back going green, then I guarantee you it's going to be all quiet and just absolutely necessary communication once we get back going.
Oh, all quiet on the Western Front, absolutely. But, you know, Nick, when it comes to these races, sometimes you just have to relax under caution. You remember during our days when we raced together, hell, we'd start playing Black Betty, we'd start jamming songs, we'd start talking about sports or anything. And you need to, right? It's just like when you listen to the spotter and driver communication on Sundays. You hear a lot of the drivers bust jokes under caution, or maybe they talk strategy or whatever. But with the way that these stages are laid out, they don't necessarily need to talk strategy right now. They're going to be able to come down pit road, get everything they need, and that's that. But I think it's a good stress reliever. Under caution, just throw all the seriousness out the window, get all the, get everything out that you need to, and then come back to and take it seriously when we go back green.
Yeah, and I'm not too sure how much pit strategy as a whole is going to take a part in this race. It's only going to be an 83 lap run to the finish from the end of stage number 2. Actually, no, that's a lie. Actually, no, I'm correct. 83 laps, so I'm not too sure how much fuel strategy will come into play here tonight, as it should just be a straight cut, single pit stop in stage 3.
I almost said 120 laps. I can't believe I almost just... Oh, they're brake checking on the inside line.
Are they now?
The 9 car of Jeffrey Taylor. I don't know what was happening.
Oh, what the? We're all getting a little bit crazy here as we get back to green flag racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll try to break down what happened under caution, but unsure in the booth what all happened.
Take a look at the front end of Nigel's car. It's destroyed. The 9 car, I don't know what happened, checked up the inside line and caused a crazy accordion effect. And now Nigel Christensen, slow on the start in the 20 machine, his whole nose is caved in. What in the world happened?
We'll try to get a replay if we can of what happened here.
I mean, I'm so confused. I don't know if he went to go downshift. I don't know if, maybe he accidentally shut the car off or what, but Nigel dropped like 10 spots on that restart.
Well, he's in the draft, so he hasn't completely lost the draft just yet. But that is still a lot of damage for that number 20 machine, who's now mired a little bit further back. And yeah, you're right. His front end is completely destroyed. Not quite missing, but it is definitely damaged. That Camry is not as happy as it was.
Yeah, so that was actually the second checkup. So this is the second checkup. There was a first checkup in the middle of 3 and 4. Yeah, right there. I mean, look at that.
Wow, what the heck?
That is a massive mistake. And those are the little things that can cause tempers at a track like this. I mean, you have to deal with the blocking. You have to deal with the side drafting, which can all be aggravating. These big teams working with each other, which can also be aggravating. And then small little things like that, they can get in your head, and then you can drive angry and start making mistakes. And, man, you just hate to see it for that 20 machine.
Yeah, driving angry is something I know a little bit too closely there, but he should be all good. Should be all good in that number 20. He should be able to get everything fixed at the stage break, as it doesn't look like, other than that, it doesn't look like that 20 has too much damage. So I guess crisis averted for the number 20 of Nigel Christensen.
So we see the 43 car getting lapped. Shane Davis and Norman going by him on the outside. Going down into turn 3 now. Oh, caution out on the racetrack.
Sounds like we have...
Oh, the 22 again.
How realistic. Kidding. that was not a dig, Jordan Schmitz. I'm sorry. That was not a dig.
Just something about Joey Logano with these plate tracks, man. Come back to take a look at what happened. This happened all the way in the back of the pack.
I'm not sure. Oh, trying to get around the lap car, it looks like.
Oh, boy.
Oh. Lap car gets turned, it looks like.
Double wombo combo. Not only did he hit the outside wall, but then he had the car come in behind him and slam him on the driver's side, or the passenger side door, excuse me. My goodness. What a hit. Coming through 3 and 4. I mean, I don't know if that car went up to block to get the run. They're 3 wide through the middle. Looks like the 01 starts to come up. Bam, into the 14. The 22, just an innocent bystander. He's going to get hooked. And look at this hit.
Yeah, Matt Mackin also in that 01 had a really hard hit.
Bang, and then he got hit again.
It's been a rough race for that 22.
Oh, absolutely.
I'll be the first to say it.
And it looks like that right front toe link might be broken. I couldn't tell on the spin back around, but it looked like it was skipping a little bit. So we're under caution here on lap 50 of 163. Nick, I'm going to do it. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to Ballin' TV's first broadcast for Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine 250. Nick, bring us to commercial.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and take a quick commercial break here on Ballin' TV. Stay right here. We'll bring you back through the end of stage number 2. Stay right here.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back live here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine 250 here at Atlanta. It's been a chaotic one so far through 50 laps. You've had a couple of wrecks already here tonight through stage 1 and about half of stage 2, give or take here. And like I said, it's been an interesting one here tonight, but we bring you back right in the middle of stage number 2, coming to a restart here with about 28 laps to go here in stage number 1, or excuse me, stage number 2.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I think, Nick, we brought it up, and it's alive, and it's well. The race has just been chaotic. We've seen wrecks in the front, wrecks in the back, solo spins, innocent bystanders. We've seen checkups on the restarts that have caused nose damage. Let's just hope that on this restart, everybody will stay cordial, and we'll get some good green flag racing.
Yeah, we're coming back to green flag racing here. Tim Wortman Jr. going to be the control car on this restart as he decided to take the outside line here. Actually, I lied. It was Shane Davis who had control, and he hits it early. Green flag back out in the air here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Already moving up to get back up in front of the 83 of Tim Wortman Jr., who has proved himself as probably one of the better pushers here tonight, I feel.
I feel like that was too big of a start for Shane. I mean, I think he has a loyal person behind him pushing him in that 83. But any other place that you go, whether it's an A-Open, an NIS, or anything like that, if you get a lead that big going into one, you're going to get passed on the outside. But Tim Wharton thinks better of it and says, you know what? We've been working together really well this whole race. I'm just going to keep pushing you.
Yeah, and that outside line has disintegrated each of the last 2 restarts here. And they get back going, but they're going to need some people to stay in that outside line if it wants to have any success here tonight.
As we see 3 wide farther back in the pack, they've got it solved. 3-car breakaway here up front. Few car lengths between the pack behind them. That's Shane P. Davis, Tim Horton, and Kenny Coppola. And then side by side, you got Rogers, Sanders, Cox, Biking, Belmont. Better place rounding out the top 10. Coming to lap 53 now. The 3 cars breaking away, and you can see the second pack forming up. I just don't know. These where all the damaged cars are. Maybe they just don't have enough speed, but they're also not coordinated, Nick. They're side by side. They're not really working together. And as we know, at these plate tracks with these cars and this package specifically, that front pack's going to pull away, and they're going to pull away quick, as long as they don't side draft.
Yeah, and that's another thing here with Atlanta that's a little bit weird is Jeffrey Taylor actually turns Kenny Coppola down the front straightaway. Coppola saves it somehow, and they keep it going and keep it going straight amazingly, as I was saying, it's a lot harder to stay formed up in the pack here at Atlanta, and we saw it right there. Jeffrey Taylor gets to the inside of Coppola and almost causes the huge one.
What a monster save as we're looking at it on the replay now. Oh, that was the replay. My apologies. Oh, man. And, you know, I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to cause any issues, but with that, you know, Jeffrey Taylor, that's the second or third time that we've brought his name up. He was the one that caused the big checkup on the inside line, and now almost that, and you can hear the chatter over the radio. Someone's not pleased, and again, goes back to those small things that will get into a driver's head, whether it be, you know, maybe Jeffrey Taylor will start to be a little more conservative, or if he's like, you know what, I don't care what anybody says, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, but certainly not going to make any friends, but that's okay. It's restrictor plate racing. And there's a new fastest lap hit by Blaine Wilson with a 29.075.
Yeah, that's the one fun thing about Atlanta Motor Speedway. You can still win this race even without a lot of friends. You just need to time your runs perfectly, and no one can really have any defense against you. So, still working on trying to get a replay here as we look at the limp cam. As this is, I think, a lap beforehand. Yeah, still a lap prior to where this incident occurred.
Well, that's all right, because now we get to take a look at what led up to it. You know, we had that 3-car breakaway. Kenny's fallen off a little bit. The 9 cars coming up to him with help from Barry back there. And coming off of turn 4, it looks like he might have gotten a run and, oh, puts his left sides below the double red. Gets Kenny's quarter panel. If I was Kenny, I would not be too happy. It does say they've made a big point of it, no going below that red line, and I know it says no passing, but as a driver, it can be incredibly frustrating. Even when a driver gets 2 of the left side tires below that line and almost gets you around, it's like, hey, you know, we're not supposed to be down there anyway. Let's think about not doing that again.
Yeah, just coming up on lap number 60 of this race, about to hit 100 to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, halfway through stage number 2. Got about a, I would say 10-car breakaway up front from Shane Davis down to about Preston Purrier on your standings list. But like I said, this breakaway, it's pretty massive as it's the first 10 cars of this race. I was actually Justin Belmonte in the number 60. That's my apologies. But it's a 4-second gap back to the second pack, and it's being led by Shane Wyeth. So we're going to have to see if these guys are going to be able to get back up to this lead pack by the end of stage number 2.
Yeah, I don't know if they will. The front pack's all single file. They're just going to check out. And I mean, look at the names of the drivers, Nick. We brought it up before the race. The majority of the drivers are, guess who? The beast mode guys. They're all up there. They're all helping each other. One of them's out front. Another one's 3 cars in. Another one's like 4 or 5 cars back. So a lot of these guys, very organized. Beast mode. They're back at it again this week, just like they were last week.
Yeah, and they are definitely proving why they do so well on these plate races. I mean, you go around iRacing, go into the official races, into NIS and A-Open, and if you see beast mode cars in that race, you can already bet they're going to be working together. That's one of the things that they have really built, kind of a culture there in that driver camp, is just work with your teammates. If one driver from our team wins, the entire team wins. That seems to be the mentality that these guys take, especially into these plate races, which is why they work together so well. And like I said, they're all very respected drivers in the iRacing scene, I feel.
You know, and it wouldn't surprise me if they won 12, 13, 14 races between all of them this season. I mean, look what our team did in one of the leagues that we had. We had 12 drivers in the field, and we didn't lose a race until, I believe, week 26 out of 36. You know, when you have
over race. This is the first
when
race that we lost.
Carl
Dodson. League you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah, when Carl Dodson won. Yeah, and you know, when you have those numbers, it's a sense of comfort. But with that sense of comfort also comes maybe a little bit of jealousy. That's one thing that we don't talk about a lot in these drivers camps. You know, if you're the only driver on the team without a win, maybe at a restrictor plate track, someone can help you. But everywhere else, you're on your own. If you're running 3-4 seconds back, no one's going to pull over for you. And those are the things that are earned. And that's what we ended up going through on our team, is a lot of us kept winning and maybe 1 or 2 drivers didn't. And they were just trying to figure out what it was, and it could cause just a lot. And so, but I think these guys are better than that. These guys got good head on their shoulders, and I think they'll do just fine.
Yeah, like I said, Beast Mode, just such a respected organization, and like I said, they're dominating here tonight. 65 laps in. Shane Davis has led the majority of this race. I think he's only lost the lead like once or twice here tonight, but that 79 has been a dominating force here.
You know, and I'm surprised how long that 83 can stay on his back bumper. They have been glued together this entire run, and during practice, it felt like a lot of drivers were blowing up. Sorry, I was listening to the radio chatter. I thought Wortman was saying that he was getting ready to blow up, but it's just he's been glued to the back bumper, and in practice, it felt like we only ran a few laps before people started blowing up. But I believe that's when they were glued. But you can see Wortman's got a little bit of space between him and the rear bumper of Shane Davis as he almost gives him a bad bump, but they continue down the back straightaway.
Yeah, they get around the 22 of Jordan Schmeets there on that bottom line. Of course, Schmeets not having the race he wants to have in that number 22, but he will probably regroup and head to Circuit of the Americas next week, which that'll be another fun one. It'll be the first race on the West Circuit, the shorter course there at Circuit of the Americas. And through officials and some NIS this week, I can already tell it's a very fun track. We'll just have to see how it races in a full field of cars. But like I said, a very, very chaotic start to the season here for these Moonshiners Racing League drivers as they start with 2 plate tracks, head to a road course, and then they head to a 1.5-mile dogleg. So very interesting start to the season for these.
We're looking at Shane Wyatt farther back in the pack. He's got some damage on his left front. Oh, as he almost gets turned around by the 45 machine. What a save by Shane Wyatt. But just talking about the 2 guys up front, I mean, Shane Davis finished 2nd last week. Wortman, I believe, finished 6th. So these guys know what they're doing at tracks like this. And a lot of people, you know, outside the world may say, you know, restrictor plate racing doesn't take a lot of skill, but it absolutely does, knowing where the runs are, holding your line, squaring up the bumps. And a lot of the times going down the back straightaway, maybe not at the front straightaway with the dog leg at Atlanta, but with these next gen cars, you can push 4 or 5 deep. And some of the pushes that we'll see by the end of this race will be absolutely insane. But these beast mode guys are doing good up front, but Wortman is still beating the hell out of that back bumper of Shane Davis.
Yeah, that's something that we used to see was the 4 and 5 car breakaways at the plate tracks. With this new aero model the Cup car has on the drafting tracks, it's these runs aren't as severe, so that third car becomes a lot more important in terms of a line success. So it's a little bit sad that we're not going to be able to see the 4 or 5 car breakaways, you know, winning by 27 seconds at Talladega anymore, but it is a very welcome change with this aero model, and it just really shows how much work this Cup car needed on iRacing.
Yeah, and look at how much time these guys have pulled between the next pack. I mean, it is 10 seconds back to 11 and 12th place. These guys all staying single file. This is what it does. They just create so much momentum that it does not help them at all. And, you know, these guys are also single file, but they just don't have as much numbers. They're having to go around lapped cars. Some people are going to the high side, the low side, trying to make up spots. But when you're in a pack like that, especially the leader of that pack, specifically Shane Wyatt, it can be very frustrating. But, I mean, geez, they've pulled half a track on him.
Yeah, and looking at the retirements tab right now, we started at 36 here tonight. We have lost 8. We have 27 cars running right now. Jordan Schmeets, actually, I lied. We have, I believe, 29 possibly. Yeah, we have 29 cars running, so we have officially lost 6 cars here tonight as Jordan Schmeets and Chris Spear are both laps down right now, but still running. But we have lost the likes of Kevin Ruff, Victor Pfluger, Warren Young, Corey Moore, Matt Mack, and Brian Curry, and Chad Sullivan have all pulled it down pit road and called it a night. But everyone else seemingly still racing here tonight. Darren Mills just lost a lap as well, as it looks like they're getting ready to come around and start lapping some people this lead pack.
Lap 74 coming to lap 75. Ballin TV's coverage of the crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine 250. What a race it's been so far. Shane Davis led the most laps so far today. And Nick, I think it's time we send it to a Crank It Up.
Oh, I am so excited for us. Let's hear the real sounds of these cars here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Turn that volume up. Let these cars sing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Crank it up here on Ballin TV. Oh, we are wrecking. We are wrecking here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Sorry to cut in to, we are still green, but we just had a wreck on the front stretch as Sean Rogers just got turned off the nose of Matt Cox. Still no caution, and we're still racing for a stage win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Sorry to cut into the crank it up there, but Sean Rogers goes for a ride. We're going to try to get a
volume at
replay
90 as Nick comes back in. Oh, man, I think Brandon Bikey got the worst of this, too. I thought I saw him all the way down, almost on pit road, but walk us through what happened, Nick.
Yeah, we'll see. Coming off of turn number 4 here, Matt Cox just gets to Sean Rogers in the exact wrong place off of 4. And I'm surprised this wasn't a caution.
Yeah, we're getting another look here. Looking at the 44 of Sean Rogers, who wanted to go to the front of this pack for the stage. Coming out of turn 4, the 32 machine. Oh,
Dude,
man,
still racing for the stage win right now, as no caution was thrown for this. It's a 6-car race up front as we go back to live TV. Shane Davis throws a block on Matt Cox on the 32 up top. As we're coming to the white flag of stage number 1, Cox takes it to the inside. Davis on the outside. They touch coming off of turn number 4. Here comes Kenny Coppola, though, in that number 77 as they take the white flag here in stage number 2. Coppola gives the 79 of Shane Davis a little bit of a risky bump going into turn number 1. They all keep it straight as off of turn number 2. Matt Cox has a run on the inside, goes up to side draft. The 77 doesn't get it, gets down in front of the 83 of Tim Wortman and blocks. And that is going to ruin any chance of Shane Davis having his sweep of the stages ruined there. But Shane Davis is going to take stage number 2, and he sweeps the stages here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Oh, and Wortman is not happy about that block that was thrown on him down the back straightaway. He felt like he had a nose to the quarter panel of the 32 machine, and he is lighting him up right now.
And for good measure, that was not a block that needed to be thrown there, in my opinion.
Hey, but you know what? Stage points are huge, huge in this. You know, because of his stage win last week, Shane Davis is your points leader. Now he's won both of them today. That's only going to help his case going on in the future.
Yeah, and stage finish as of the time of caution, Shane Davis is your stage winner, sweeps both stage number 1 and stage number 2. Kenny Coppola finishes in 2nd, Matt Cox in 3rd. Randy Mullins rounds out 4th. Tim Wortman Jr. finishes out your top 5. Justin Belmonte, Brandon Bikey, Jeffrey Taylor, Shane Wyatt, and Blaine Wilson round out your point scores here in stage number 2 as we send it to some pit stops.
Yeah, I believe everybody should come down, get full of fuel, take 4 tires. And yeah, the tire wear was starting to show itself too. You could see the cars all over the place. They were getting tight. And I believe this is the first time that they're going to take tires today as they all come down pit road. And unfortunately, we will only hear the 1 lug stop.
Won't be able to hear the 5 lug nuts going off like everyone grew up with, but hey, pit stops are faster at least.
I remember as a kid, I used to tell my mom to get tickets on the front straightaway just so that way we could hear that 5 lug. Oh, it was just such an amazing feeling as a child going to a race. So we have a race off of pit road here. Oh, Shane Davis is going to get that win off of pit road. 32, 77, 54, the 60, 83 of Wortman. He's going to lose, I believe, only a spot. What a battle these guys are putting on so far, Nick.
As we officially cross 80 to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We'll go ahead and cut it to a quick commercial here, and we'll bring you back for the start of stage number 3. Stay right here on Ballin TV. We'll bring you back to Moonshiners Racing League action after this. Back live here at Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Moonshiners Racing League in the OB Builders Cup Series. Round number 2 here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. It's the Crazy Chucks Purple Jesus Moonshine 250 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Getting ready to come back to a restart here. Shane Davis and Matt Cox up front. And we've said it multiple times tonight. It has been a chaotic race here tonight.
Yeah, we're gonna take a look here at the top 6 as we're gonna be going back green. Shane Davis leading the most laps today so far. Matt Cox to his outside. Kenny Coppola, Randy Mullins, Justin Belmonte, and Tim Wharton Jr. rounding out your top 6.
We get another page here. Jeffrey Taylor, Blaine Wilson, Chris Davis, and Johnny Shade, your top 10. Paul Gallimore and Brandon Bikey, your top 12. As we get ready to send it to another restart here. Shane Davis, do you still like him as your favorite for tonight, or do you think there is a chance that he could be falling here? We'll find out here in about 80 laps time as we get ready to start stage number 3 here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Shane Davis has control of the restart as he rolls it through the Geico restart zone. Green flag back out in the air here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Shane Davis with another big-time jump on that inside line. Doesn't really have any teammates around him like he did last time, but he's got Kenny Coppola right behind.
Yeah, and that's really going to help that inside line. They did not get a good start, but with those 2 cars coming down to that inside line, it's certainly going to help them. Blaine Wilson starting to make his way back up there. The 11 car, who I thought had a broken toe link, he's back up there. Don't count out Brandon Bikey either. Last week's winner of the Daytona race, still trying to fight his way back up after an immaculate save coming off of 4 after a bad push by a car up front. 2x2 for a few rows as they go down into turn 1 with Shane P. Davis still leading.
Now, I'm going to throw a little bit of a throwback out here for you, Brandon, and we're going to do it in reverse order than what we're used to. How about you walk us through some strategy here at Atlanta? What's the fuel window looking like for these guys? Are they going to be able to make it to the end on one stop, or are we going to see some green flag pit stops here tonight?
I believe if we don't have a caution, which we almost just had, I do not think they can make it 80 laps. I know that when we were running open, we were usually, I know a full tank of fuel could get you 60, 65. I don't think these guys are going to fuel save. They know that they're going to have to pit, so we might see one green flag pit stop, and that's going to bring up that chaotic team intervention that I was talking about earlier, where, yes, numbers do help at this racetrack, but if all 11 of you come down pit road at the same time, where the pit speed doesn't start until right about here, coming off of turn 4, you can haul that thing down into turn 3, and a lot of mistakes can be made.
Yeah, we got a 4-car breakaway once again up front. It seems like every restart we're talking about is Tim Warman. Oh, gets turned off the nose, still trying to save it on the apron. Somehow they all managed to keep his straight, and they didn't even lose any time to this lead pack.
What a save by Wartman coming off of turn 2, the bad bump on the uneven straightaway and everything. Still got clipped below the apron and still managed to save it. I mean,
Look
wow.
at this replay. Justin Belmonte with a bad push. These were a little bit early as it was going through 1 and 2. You can just see how chaotic the second pack is. There's Johnny Shade here.
Well, I really like these early replays because it shows the momentum building up to it, not just the moment of the accident. You can see them starting to get squirrely right there. 60 gives him a bad push. You can see the rear end caved in. He locks it up. And we saw Blaney in the cup race on Sunday. Granted, it was a little earlier in the corner, but he got on that apron, tried to save it the best he could, and still ended up going around. Hell of a save by that 83 machine.
And now our 4-car breakaway has turned into a 7-car breakaway up front. Shane Davis down to Brandon Bikey have pulled away from the second pack, and it looks like we're in for more of the same of what we had before the end of stage number 2 here, as it's a lot of breaking away up front.
Lap 90 of 163 of the Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine 250. It's been one hell of a race so far. Thank you for everybody tuning in on Ballin TV's first broadcast. If you guys could give us a like and subscribe, turn on those notifications so you know all of our future upcoming events. But let's go to the YouTube chat for the first time tonight, Nick. We need everyone's input here. Who's everyone's favorite? Who are they cheering for? And now this is the toughest question, Nick. We might break up a few families here. We know that you want to cheer for your family, but out of everybody that you've seen so far, who's taking the race?
I like that 79 car. I'm keeping it safe here. I don't think anyone takes this from Shane Davis. He has been the dominating car all night, been up front for the majority of this race, swept both stages, and that 79 just looks too hot to handle right now. Give me the 79 of Shane Davis taking the win here.
Yeah, I don't know. Actually, a new fastest lap by Chris Davis with a 28.961. So we are definitely not fuel saving. These boys know that we're going to have to come down pit road. But as you can see, Brandon Bikey going to the outside. He might drop to the back of the pack. But no, I agree with you, Nick. The 79's a very strong car, but at a track like this, you just don't know who's going to win. As Bikey, now he's got some help from that 74 machine and the 81 of Barry Sanders. No, not the legendary running back Barry Sanders, but one can dream.
One can dream, he says, as that 7-car breakaway, well, they have been caught here at Atlanta. It is now a single pack here of about 15 cars in this lead pack. But it's still mostly single file. We have a couple of guys trying to go double file. Actually, matter of fact, here comes Blaine Wilson, Johnny Shade, Alex Coffey, and Shane Wyatt. The Dig Esports cars making their first appearance up front here tonight. They're taking it to these Beast Mode performance machines on the bottom.
And this is only going to hurt their time that they had to that second pack. The longer that they stay side by side, it's going to all pull them off of one another. And we might even see a few cars break away if these guys stay side by side, because Kenny's just giving shot after shot to Shane Davis on that rear bumper. But you can see he's going to have to cool, and that's going to drag the high side along with them. Shane Wyatt on that high side. You got Alex Coffey, Blaine Wilson, the 45 machine of Johnny Shade as well. All the Toyotas lined up top. Can they do anything with the run? Blaine Wilson goes back down to the bottom, going to get that draft, but then he's going to go back up. And that top line's starting to show some momentum, Dick.
Yeah, and I'm going to take it back a little bit here with a little bit of a throwback to the Wicked Racing League days. That number 45, Johnny Shade, better known as the Plate Racing God, makes his first appearance on the top 5. Almost gets turned off the nose of Randy Mullins, but we're still going here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, as now Johnny Shade to the inside of his teammate in the 18 of Blaine Wilson. Wilson now doesn't have any help. He's trying to get some help from Alex Coffey, but here comes Johnny Shade off the nose of the... Oh, Shade actually got turned. What happened to Johnny Shade?
Oh no, Johnny Shade getting turned. I was literally about to say Nick was calling him the god of restrictor plates, and he almost caused a crash on the back straightaway of biblical proportions, and now he's around on the front straightaway. Taking a look at the replay.
I just got a look at that replay in the 45 of Johnny Shade. Commentators curse once again. He had a supremely hard hit.
Yeah, the 54. Oh, just gets to his outside. Oh my gosh, what a hit. He might be done. Oh, does he hit the inside wall too? No, doesn't hit it that hard. But he might be done. He might have the big old meatball flag taking one more look at it.
We're going to look on board with the 45 of Johnny Shade. Had such a good run down the front straightaway. Looked like he was going to be able to take it to these leaders. Oh, man.
Oh, my goodness. And it looked like the 54 behind him just gave him a bad bump on the front straightaway. Maybe got Shade out of line a little bit. And Randy thought that he was going to be able to push him again, and it just got to his outside. And that's just the mistake that can be made at these plate tracks. You get someone out of shape thinking, all right, well, they're going to, you know, when they come back up, they're going to come high, and I'm going to be able to hit them square. And stuff like that just happens. And unfortunately, the 45 machine hit a ton.
Now, here's where this race gets interesting if you like strategy and all that when it comes to NASCAR. We are just on the edge of the fuel window here at Atlanta Motor Speedway to the end of this race. We got almost exactly on the nose, 63 to go to the end of this race. And you remember Brandon earlier said fuel tanks sitting about 60 to 65. So strategy just became a big part of this race. And it is going to be very interesting to see who decides to fuel save here and who decides to push it and try to just hope for no green-white checkers here.
We might see the Nick Stein choo-choo train that we haven't seen in 2 years, Nick. Everyone fuel saving at 150 miles an hour for 10 laps, and then everybody goes as hard as they can to the end of the race. We might see it. We might. It's been a long time, 2 years since we've seen 40 cars in single file line going 150 miles an hour. Hell, I remember, I believe it was the truck series, Nick, that you used to call that I was racing in when we were at Talladega. We were going 115 miles an hour around Talladega for 14 laps just to get to that fuel number. So we might see some of that. But some of these guys might get hungry and go up to the front and bank on another caution and not fuel save.
And honestly, I don't blame them. I mean, with the way this race has gone, I would at least expect one more caution here tonight. But you're right. We will see some fuel saving here tonight to finish off this race. It's just a matter of how much are we going to see and who's going to start the fuel saving train. And then later on, who's going to break the fuel saving train.
And just as we said it, Shane P. Davis had been out front all day, and here he is coming off of pit road, lost a few spots. I think we had some different tire strategy, Nick. I think some people took right, some people took 4, and some people might have not taken any at all. So it's going to be interesting to see lap 101 of 163. We got a few people in chat saying Dig from Dig Esports, they might win. We had one comment that said birds aren't real, and I don't see that comment anymore. So I'm going to assume that someone deleted that. But I believe they said the number 83 machine, which would be Tim Wortman Jr. And if Tim Wortman Jr. doesn't believe in birds, then explain how he's going to fly to the front of this pack, because I know he's going to want to get back up front.
All right. You've been banished to the bad joke chamber. That was horrible. That was a horrible joke.
Hey, the producer loved it.
Boo.
Boo. All right. Coming back to green.
Enough goofing around. We got 63 to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Should be one more fuel tank. We'll see some fuel saving here, unfortunately. But it is going to be an action-packed final stanza of this race. Green flag back out in the air. Matt Cox leads him to green flag for the first time here tonight. Gets a really good jump. No help behind him, though. Here comes Brandon Bikey and Chris Davis on the outside, but Matt Cox is going to hop up in front of him. Davis takes it to the inside, and now Chris Davis is going to be your leader off of turn number 2. 3 wide further back is Alex Coffey, Kenny Coppola, and I believe that's Justin Belmonte on the outside. Go 3 wide down the back.
This is what the front pack that had broken away did not want to see. They did not want to see this caution for this reason. 2 by 2 all throughout the field. We might even see some 3 wide, but here comes Shane Davis and Brandon Bikey on the outside pushing Matt Cox. Oh, almost got turned. Oh,
my
no.
goodness, we're getting risky here. Cox almost gets turned again on the outside line. Shane Davis to the inside. He wants no part of being behind that number 32, and I do not blame him as he is all over the place on that outside line right now. Chris Davis pushes the 79 as Shane Davis back out to the lead. Here comes Randy Mullins and Justin Belmonte right behind him on that inside line, but you got Brandon Bikey pushing Matt Cox up top. You got Paul Gallimore and Blaine Wilson behind him trying to get this outside line going.
The outside line 2x2 all the way throughout the pack. Here comes Shane Wyatt after a few wrecks. He's on that inside line. The inside line is showing more energy now than they have all day long. Brandon Bikey pushing the hell out of the 32 machine on the high side, and I believe that's what happened coming off of 2 the last time when Cox and Shane Davis almost wrecked. Got a bump from Bikey. That's none of Brandon Bikey's doing. That's just what you have to do when you're 2x2. You have to push the hell out of these cars.
Yeah, you remember when we said that they were probably going to be fuel saving to start this stint? Yeah, no, they're running some of the fastest laps they have all night.
3 cars on the inside line. I mean, Shane Davis, Nick, I was concerned that he was going to be in 6 on the restart, and it did not take him long. Took him all of 2 laps to get back out front.
Yeah, and it's a 3-car breakaway up front. 3 cars have broken away from that inside line. Justin Belmonte technically leads this inside line in the pack, but he is 4th place on the ticker. Matt Cox up top leads that outside line. And this is just something we've seen all night. We have seen Shane Davis able to drag 3 or 4 cars out to a couple tenths of a second lead here as they're almost wrecking further back, but they all keep it straight. But like I said, Shane Davis has been able to all night just drag 3 or 4 cars out a few tenths at a time and just kind of have a little bit of a breakaway from this main pack.
And let's remind you as well, like some of the other leagues, this is not fixed. This is an open setup race, so all the different tire pressures, all the different setups are coming into play here. There's a big checkup on the inside line. They almost wrecked coming off of 4. They somehow saved it. I believe that started up in front of Shane Wyatt. That accordion effect almost got the field again, but with the talented drivers of this league, we keep it going. 108 of 163.
Did Miles the Monster make the 1,000-something mile trip down here to Atlanta? He is claiming cars left and right here tonight at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we are still going in this lead pack. Coming up on 40 to go here, or excuse me, I lied, 50 to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as this outside line now starting to get going, and they are slowly but surely gaining time on this inside line. They are even now with Justin Belmonte in the number 60. They got 3 more cars to get up to Shane Davis, but they are slowly inching their way up.
And with how crazy these guys are racing right now, I can say they're not fuel saving. I guarantee you these guys probably got their number and they're ready to go. So maybe we were wrong up here in the booth. I trust these guys' knowledge more than my knowledge. But one thing is, with all of this racing, with all of these bad pushes, there's a lapped car coming up. And I don't want to imagine where everyone's going to go. You don't have to yield to the lap car. You don't. But the lap car is going to go all the way down to the bottom. The 45 showing tremendous respect to the pack. But as the outside line, you don't have to yield for that lapped car, Nick. And that's almost one of those unwritten iRacer rules that you normally give room, but in a race like this, you need every advantage that you can get. And if I was that outside line, I would have pinched them to stay in line with that 45. But Johnny Shade, being the classic racer that he is, lets everyone go by on the outside.
Yeah, and we're still running in this lead pack, almost dead even up front, as this outside line has done a lot of work, and I mean a lot of work to be able to get even with the 79 of Shane Davis, who has been your dominating car all night. That's actually going to be the first lap he hasn't led in a while. Actually, no, they gave it to Shane Davis by 0.04 of a second, but we are racing for the lead up front here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Matt Cox leading that outside line. He's got Brandon Bikey shoving him for everything it's worth.
It just blows my mind that this 11 car of Paul Gallimore is up here after the hard hit that he had earlier. Brandon Bikey's going to say, see you later. I want control of this race. He's going to dump Matt Cox down to the bottom in front of Brandon Bikey's teammate of Shane Davis. New leader, Brandon Bikey, last week's winner, going down into turn 1 and 2.
Now what that did, that slowed that inside line down a pretty good chunk. That allowed the outside line to get 2 or 3 cars clear now. But that inside line is going to come charging back as here comes the beast of the performance cars down to the inside line. That was Kenny Coppola, Paul Gallimore, and Brandon Bikey all in order coming down to the inside line. And now it's going to be Brandon Fetterplace leading that outside line. He's got Colt Plaskowski on his rear end trying to get this outside line back up towards the lead.
I think Carson Hocevar needs to take notes because this is how you're supposed to push. At Atlanta's, they're almost 3 wide. A bad bump as soon as I said it. Someone got a bad bump. We're still almost 3 wide. The 22 almost got in one again by his own undoing. But my God, what a save by all of these drivers. And just as I said, someone needs to take notes. Now we're starting to get the bad pushes.
Oh my goodness. A couple of the Dig Esports cars, Shane Wyatt and Blaine Wilson, took it up to the outside and almost caused a huge wreck in turn 2 and turn 3, but they all keep it straight here as now Shane Wyatt and Alex Coffey running that outside line.
Blaine Wilson is glued to the back bumper of Shane Wyatt's Simrat Market Toyota Camry. Look at them go on the outside, picking off one by one. And this is how the top line is supposed to be run. Look at the checkup that the inside line has to deal with. And Wilson does not have to do anything but push Shane Wyatt. Coming off of turn 2, can the outside line get all the way up here and take the lead? Or will the boys up front throw the blocks?
Not quite time for blocking just yet. They thought about it. Gallimore thought about throwing a block there. Blaine Wilson pushing Shane Wyatt for everything it is worth. They made it from 8th in line up to the lead in the span of a lap. That is how quickly runs can develop here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And now that the outside line is starting to get some more numbers, they're starting to inch closer and closer to being able to take that lead from the 27 of Brandon Bikey.
These Dig boys are digging. I mean, by God, they are flying. And Blaine Wilson was stuck to Shane's back bumper for almost 2.5 laps. But now here comes the challenge. Can they get past them? And there's also another lapped car coming up. Let's hope they do the same thing that Johnny Shade did. They're going to go down below the red line and let the pack by. But Shane Wyatt and them Dig boys have been doing lots of work. Shane Wyatt with a car length advantage in 3 and 4. Could Shane Wyatt lead his first lap of the race?
Looking like he will. This is exactly what we saw last week at Daytona. Shane Wyatt and Blaine Wilson leading the Dig Esports group up to the front. Now, hopefully, they're hoping for a much better ending than what happened last week with that big wreck with 5 to go. But they're looking at a lot more coordinated here as they head down the back straightaway, coming towards a lap 120, coming up to 40 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
And we got 45 to go now. More Alex Coffey, 3 wide through the middle, leaving the 8 car out to dry. The 8 car, oh, Brandon Bikey! Brandon Bikey's in the grass. That's going to hurt that inside line so much. Now we're 3 by 3. Oh, man. Wow. What a shot
Here
to
comes
Brandon
the
Bikey.
line back once again. Kenny Coppola to the back end of the 11 of Paul Gallimore as they try to regroup that inside line, and Brandon Bikey somehow kept that out of the wall. He is off the lead pack, but he has no damage on that number 27. All he needs is a caution, and he's back in this thing. And the way they're racing, do not be surprised if we see one here within a few laps, as they have been racing like there is no tomorrow here, and Shane Wyatt still leading that outside line.
Yeah, and the 11 of Paul Gilmore is the one that gave Brandon Bikey the bad bump in their teammates, and you hate to see that. That's got to be so frustrating, but that's a part of this restrictor plate racing, is that it's risky. You just got to make sure that you give them the bumps in the right places. Gallimore gets just a tad loose off of turn 4, and Shane Wyatt, Blaine Wilson, Alex Coffey, all teammates controlling that outside line.
Yeah, here comes Gallimore, though, on that inside line. He has got Kenny Coppola glued to the rear end of that number 11 machine as they are starting to work their run on that inside line. They're starting to get even with Alex Coffey on that inside as they head through 3 and 4. No blocks just yet from that outside.
And no blocks just yet coming down the front straightaway. 41 laps to go now. You can see the cars through the dog leg all over the track. car in the
my
wall, don't know
goodness.
who it is, but they keep it 2 by 2, keep it clean, and we're still under green flag.
It was Justin Belmonte and I believe Jordan Schmitz who got into the outside wall going down into turn number 1. They all kept it straight, but they both slammed the wall very hard going down into turn number 1. Gallimore now, even with the 19 of coffee, off of turn number 4, but that's about the closest they've gotten to the lead. They just have not been able to get that run going on the inside.
Yeah, the inside line just had a big accordion effect coming through the dog leg, and you can see they need Matt Cox, that third car, to get up to them. That's how they're going to be able to stay together and get those good pushes. That third car in line in this package, even the fourth car, is so important, but the third car's not quite there. Now he's there, and so's the fourth car, but this is where they've been accordioning the most, is on the front straightaway. As you can see, he gives them the bump, and that's what happens. But 40 laps to go here at Atlanta.
2 wide, 2 by 2 by 2, 8 rows deep here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Gallimore gets a little bit loose on the inside line, keeps it straight. We got a couple of lap cars now that these guys are going to have to deal with. Both of them take it down to the inside of the racetrack. One car bringing it down pit road. Johnny Shade keeps it on the track and lets the pack pass, but here comes that inside line. They are actually starting to form up quite nicely here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, as they were just about even with the 18 of Blaine Wilson as they pass the start-finish.
This racing is top-notch. You're not going to see this anywhere else, folks. My goodness, Paul Gallimore still struggling on that inside. The 3 cars are together now. Matt Cox is going to have to get off the rear end of the 77, but the 77 drifts up the track a little bit, and unless this inside line gets more compacted and gets more energy, I don't think they have anything for these front 3, because Blaine Wilson is just absolutely shoving Shane Wyatt. Clean, good pushes, and they are running fast.
Yeah, these Dig Esports cars are not messing around here tonight. They want vengeance after last week at Daytona, and it looks like they're trying to take it with as much force as they can muster up. Gallimore gets another risky push on the inside, gets a little bit loose in the middle of 3 and 4. That's going to take them back further. And this inside line, this is the most just unorganized we've seen the inside line all night.
No, seriously, this is the least organized we've seen. Look, they have 4 cars on the bottom and then 5 or 6 car lengths back to the next car to help them. They just have no help, and they continue to get swallowed up by the outside line. Paul Gallimore and Kenny Coppola, the pushes, they're getting sketchier and sketchier. Gilmore's getting loose. No one's wanting to go with them because they're dropping like rocks, and the outside line will stay prevailing. And now they're going to run the middle, and that's a good strategy, Nick. You don't want to run the third lane too much. You'll burn off your right front. But these boys, I don't see how this inside line can get to them unless they get more information.
Well, they organized just a little bit there, but oh, Gallimore gets turned off the nose of Kenny Coppola. They keep it straight somehow. No caution on the racetrack, but man, Gallimore gets turned down pit road.
What a save by Gallimore. I mean, good Lord. I mean, he even got to the grass. Honestly, I wouldn't have even blamed him if he throttled up to come back on the track to get the caution, but he used the apron, he saved it, got into the grass, and kept it green. Good, classy race car driver. I'm going to look at a replay from the lap before. Looks like they're going down into turn 1. And I'd been saying, Nick, the pushes have been getting sketchy from the 77, but you can't put that blame on him. They're just trying to get to the front. You can even see right there coming up off of 2, the 77 gets a little out of line. And then coming up into turn 4 is where stuff gets serious, Nick.
Yeah, and this inside line now, they are way far back, way far back. I think they're trying to cycle Shane Davis up to the lead of this inside line, because that's the only car they've really had success with leading this inside line. Other than that, that outside line has been the dominant line, and Shane Davis is just struggling way back in this lead pack.
And still looking at the replay here, this 11 car, they're going... You can just see, I like these long replays because you can see everything happens way beforehand than what we think, and you can see him, just drift up the track a little bit, and Kenny's still pushing him, and that's just what happens. But props to the 11 car. He could have throttled up right there and brought out the caution, but he didn't. Still green flag racing here at Atlanta, and man, what an absolute race. 32 laps to go.
don't look now, that inside line's starting to form back up here. Jordan Schmitz takes it to the inside. Now they got an even numbers advantage between the inside and the outside. Actually, outside has one more car, but it is even for the first time in a while in this lead pack. Almost exactly like what we saw at Daytona. Jordan Schmitz on that inside line, one of the few Ford Mustangs in the field, trying to do the dark horses some justice here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as he now leads this inside line. Remember, Jordan Schmitz, he was sideways earlier in this race. He's been involved in 2 separate accidents, and he's out here almost leading here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Just proves that not one wreck can make your race.
You know, and I'm starting to think that maybe that 11 car had more damage than the 22 did, because they're making more progress with him out front than they were with the 11, and that's no hate towards the 11, but I just don't think the 22 had as much damage as he did, because they're already starting to make up spots.
And here comes Jordan Schmitz. Yeah, Schmitz is on the lead lap, by the way. That 22 has worked his way back into the race for this win. Surprisingly, too, we're all surprised up here because he was 2 laps down earlier in this race, but he's worked his way back, and now he's fighting for the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, trying to take it to these 3 DIG Esports cars up top, and they have not had much challenges since they got up there and started controlling this race.
And with no cautions, this is around the time that the tires are going to start to get sketchy. I doubt that any of these guys have been letting off at all. They've been going hammer down since the start of this run, and I think they should be good on fuel. I really don't know 60 to 65 laps, but that's essentially if you're the lead car, and we've had so many different changes. I think they're good on fuel, and if all of a sudden the speeds drop, then we'll know that they've made a mistake and they're not good on fuel.
Yeah, fall off is going to be a really big thing. At the start of this run, they were starting at 29.3s and 29.2s. They've fallen off just dipping into the 30-second bracket here. So times are falling off as that inside line gets the draft from Bikey. They're going to move it up to the middle line, force that outside line all the way up near the wall. They're almost wrecking here as Bikey getting squeezed on that inside line. Looks like everybody is going to make it out just safe. Shane Davis is going to pick up Bikey and get him back into this lead draft, but oh man, that one got sketchy there.
Unless Bikey gets a wave around or gets the lucky dog, he will not go back-to-back this week. But wow, these 3 cars up front are still pushing 26, coming to 25 laps to go. The inside line still has a lot of work to do, but it takes one mistake by that outside line for that inside line to get that tremendous run. But with these 3 and how much experience they have, it's going to take a lot of pressure for them to make a mistake. But as of right now, I just don't see them making that mistake, Nick.
Yeah, that inside line is coming. They're working their way inch by inch, car by car. That inside line is working their way back up, just like we saw the outside line do when they were starting to take over this race. But here comes that inside line. Jordan Schmitz still leads that inside. Shane Wyatt still your overall leader up front. Not much has changed on the leader front in the last, 30 or so laps, but it looks like it's getting ready to, as Jordan Schmitz now with Kenny Coppola all over the rear end of that number 22 Ford Mustang on that inside line. Feder Place up top gets a little bit loose, but he keeps it in line on that outside.
We could not have picked a better first race to have as the inaugural race here on Ballin' TV. Real quick, I want to give a thanks to our producer, Sean, for doing all the great camera work tonight. DJ for making Ballin' TV possible. Nick, thank you for being lead and just letting me come back and do my thing. Hopefully we get to do more races together again in the future. 23 coming to 22 laps to go. The DIG Motorsports guys on the outside still trying to work that outside, but here comes the 22 of Jordan Schmitz on the inside. Now he's up to the door. Almost. That's a big checkup on the inside line. That's how much the accordion effect can hurt the inside line. I mean, he was at the door of the 19 car.
Top. Brandon Federplace got on the wall up top, and now that's going to allow a 4-car breakaway up front as both lines try to get recuperated here and get back to where they were. DIG Esports plus Justin Belmonte up front are breaking away by about 2 or 3 car lengths up front, but here comes that outside line as they finally have the draft to get back up to these top 4 cars.
Yeah, we were just looking at the side of Brendan Fetterplace. Now we're on board with him. Not too much damage after getting into the wall. He's still in it. And you can see the throttle input right down there on the bottom left. You can see the RPMs, and look at how much he's lifting just to stay off the rear bumper. This is one of those tracks, yes, you can push 4 or 5 deep in these cars, but Atlanta, with how short that back straightaway is, and with the dog leg on the front straightaway, you do not want to push the pusher unless you are 100% sure that you're not going to take him out.
Now, remember earlier when we said that this race was going to be a lot of give and take? We're getting to the point where it's going to be a lot more take and a lot less give here as we're coming up to just past 20 to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're getting close to that point where it is going to be all take and no give between these guys as it is coming down to the wire here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
Yeah, it's going to start to get greedy. Someone's going to see a hole, and they're going to want to take it so that way they can potentially move their position up. We have 2 more lappers in front of the lead pack right here. You can see the 77 pushing the 22 of Jordan Schmeets. The 2 lap cars are going to go down to the inside. Classy move by them, letting this pack race it out. Now remember, Brandon Bikey, last week's winner, that red car on the outside line, second to last, he is not in contention, and now he's 3 wide as a lap down. But these 3 Toyotas up front have been the strongest so far. 3 wide to the trial of almost 4 wide.
Jordan, it seems like every time this inside line gets a really good run going, Kenny Coppola and Jordan Schmeets get separated as we're still 3 wide further back in the pack. Jordan Schmeets and Kenny Coppola still trying to make that inside line working, and they're door banging down the back straightaway as Jordan Schmeets now still somehow even with the 60 of Justin Belmonte through 3 and 4 as they come to take lap 147 here at Atlanta.
Yeah, and you can see how quick that inside line dies out without a 3rd or 4th car. 2 cars can't do it justice. It just can't. Look at how many cars are on the outside line. The inside line just can't make it work. They're going to need people to start dropping down. But even now, with only 17 to go, it's still too early to make that move.
Yeah, still way too early. Still a lot of race left here as, man, it has been just a barn burner to this point. Dig Esports really staking their claim as one of the better plate racing teams here. Of course, we know Beast Mode is such a good plate racing team, but this Dig Esports group, they're putting their claim out there saying they want to be the best plate team here.
Yeah, and Shane Wyatt, after being involved in almost the first wreck of the night, squeezing through the middle 3 wide, then getting involved in another one, having slight left front damage. It looks like he's got most of it fixed right now, but don't count out these guys behind the Dig Esport drivers. At any given moment, they could dive down and help that inside line. Again, I think it's a little too early. That inside line still just doesn't have what it takes. They can get up to about the 3rd or 4th car, but we haven't seen anything big out of them just yet. But with about 5 laps to go, maybe even longer than that, 3, maybe even 2 to go, start watching these guys on the outside that aren't affiliated with Dig to go down to the inside to try to advance their position and potentially take the win of the races. Kenny almost turns the 22 of Schmeets in the dog leg.
Yeah, and there's the other team up there. You see the 3 orange cars. That's Team Arrow. We haven't really talked about them too much tonight because that's exactly what they do. They sit here and run as Jordan Schmeets almost gets turned off the nose of the 77 of Coppola on the inside line. Somehow they keep it all straight, but that is just another big checkup for that inside line, and they're trying to build the run here. They just cannot seem to stay connected when they get the big runs going on this inside line.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point that you brought up, Nick. You have 3 cars for Dig Esports, 1, 2, 3. Then you have the 60 car of Justin Belmont for Warrior Racing, and then the 3 cars for Arrow right behind him. So we might see exactly what we were talking about, Nick. Those Arrow cars, if they can get down to the bottom with not a lot of time left in this race, we could see them challenge those cars. But the problem is, if you're this far back, you don't want to get side by side, because with those 3 cars, they could pull away for about 3 or 4 laps without you ever getting a run ever again. And then your wishes of winning the race have gone out the window.
Jordan Schmidt starting to get even with the 19 of Alex Coffey up front. Here comes that inside line. They are here. Are they able to stay up here as Schmidt's on that inside line with Kenny Coppola behind him? The Dig Esports 1-2-3 up top is in jeopardy for the first time since we dropped the green flag on this final stint, but Schmidt's doesn't get a good run down the front straightaway. They're going to lose a little bit more time to this outside line.
And I think we're starting to see the same thing that we saw with the 11 car of Paul. I think the 22 hasn't gotten all the damage fixed, and he's a little sluggish. He can get up to like the third or fourth car, but they just can't get it done. Even with all of this help, they almost have the same amount of cars. They're missing about 3 or 4 to match the outside line, but they're not going to leave this inside line. This is their only hope right now. If they went to the outside, that's like waving the white flag and just saying, we give up, we give up. They have to use that inside line and get up there.
Yeah, and it's also going to become a game of who is first to make the move. Because right now, we're kind of in a limbo status right now. Everyone's trying to ride, waiting for the right moment. Who is going to be the first one to make the move up top? Someone's got to make the move if they want to have a chance at winning this race. Because I know Justin Belmonte, he is not affiliated with these Dig Esports cars. He is not affiliated with these Aero cars. And he sure is not affiliated with these Beast Mode Performance cars. He wants to make the move. He wants to make the move to win this race for Warrior Racing. So it's going to be a matter of who makes the move first and who sets off the chain reaction.
And for everybody that saw that camera angle about 2 laps ago where you could literally see the inside of the car, that's how glued they are together. Oh, Schmidts is almost going to go around in the turn. What a save by Jordan Schmidts for the 4th time this run. 3 wide through the tri-oval. 9 laps to go here at Atlanta.
9 laps to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Dig Esports still leads up top. Jordan Schmidts almost got turned off the nose of the 77 of Kenny Coppola through turns 3 and 4 last time by, but they are still digging on that inside line, no pun intended, but they are 3 wide further back. Shane Davis and I believe Barry Sanders and Jeffrey Taylor 3 wide further back.
Man, this race is going to get intense with 7 laps to go. Can Jordan Schmidts on the inside line get anything working? The inside line is gone now. Forget about it. It's only 3 cars. The outside line is the place to be. Now, with 7 to go, these Aero guys, they just for a brief moment could have cleared all 3 of them down, but now the inside line has a little bit more momentum. If I was them right there, I would have taken that run in front of that 22, thrown a hell of a block, and potentially gone up there to dethrone these Dig Esports guys. But the Aero guys still trying to just bite their tongue and just wait and wait for the right moment. Still a lot of time left. I know 6 laps to go isn't a lot, but it's a lot of time here at Restrictor Plate Racing. Anything can happen within a second.
And still working our way. Still nothing changed. Here comes... Oh, there it is! He turned off the nose! But he saves it somehow!
What a save!
Schmidts! What?
He was pointed down pit road. He was 90 degrees, pointed to the left, coming off of turn 4. I mean, my goodness, that was the last save that he had.
Talk about the other 3 or 4 that he had before that, as we're still racing, looking at a replay, I believe. We're back to live. We're still looking at a replay here. Schmidts. Man, I am just shocked that he was able to save.
Oh, the Aero guys have just gone down to the inside while we're looking at this replay. The Aero Motorsports, they have finally decided to go down to the inside. They're taking their shot. They're going to do what they can. The 34, the 5, and the 3, they're up to the door of the 19 car, almost up to the 18 of Blaine Wilson. We're coming to 3 laps to go.
Almost an exact carbon copy of how Daytona finished last week. 2 whole teams fighting for the win here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. They're all fighting for that bottle of moonshine that the winner will receive at the conclusion of tonight's race. If it were to end right now, Shane Wyatt would be winning himself a bottle of moonshine. But for right now, who knows if that's going to be the same finishing order here at the finish of this one.
The Aero guys need that third car in line to stay right on them. They lost a little bit of momentum coming out of turn 4. 2 laps to go at the stripe. Shane Wyatt, Blaine Wilson, Alex Coffey for Dig. And then on the inside, you got the 3 drivers for Aero. Can they get up there? Their momentum's dying. They don't know. There's uncertainty. These 3 Dig cars up front, can they get it done? We're going to be coming to the white flag. Here comes Matt Cox to the inside with a run.
2 miles to go here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Coffey catches a door from the 32 of Matt Cox off of turn number 4. Shane Wyatt gonna take the white flag here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Car on the wall further back in the pack, but he is out of the picture. This race is official. We're going to the checkered flag. Shane Wyatt still leads his teammates. Coffey to the inside. Cox gets turned off the nose. Belmont to the inside there, wrecking down the back straightaway. It's going to be between the Dig Esports guys coming to the finish, but here comes Randy Mullins. Does he have anything to say about this? Off of turn number 4, it is going to be Shane Wyatt getting redemption for last week at Daytona. Shane Wyatt wins Atlanta.
What a race! What a race! Alex Coffey decided to go to the inside on his teammate, and the moment I saw that move, I knew that it was going to kill the run for both of them, and Shane was going to come home and win this race. What a finish.
Wow. Atlanta Motor Speedway pops off for another all-time classic as Shane Wyatt gets his first win of the season here in the OB Builders Cup Series, and the number 23 Dig Esports gets their first win of the year as well, and that is surely redemption for last week.
And get ready, because this kid's about to burn it down.
We get to watch it here. Shane Wyatt, burn it down, buddy. You deserve it. Oh, man, that 23 going to end up in VANLILYS Stickers victory lane here tonight after winning a barn burner of a race here at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
What an absolute race. Shane Wyatt bringing it home. Simrat Market in chat, hyping up their driver. What an absolute race. I hope everyone in chat agrees. What an absolute race. Thank you, everybody, again, for tuning into Ballin' TV. What an absolute race this has been. We will get the top 3 interviewed here shortly. But you can see a replay down the back straightaway. All hell breaks loose. Cars around everywhere. Alex Coffey down to the inside of his teammate Blaine Wilson. And that pretty much sealed it for Shane Wyatt. Shane Wyatt did the smart thing, staying up top, taking a look at it one more time.
And just look at how close Shane Davis was to missing this and having a chance at the win. Heartbreak for that number 79 who was dominating all night.
Most laps led, couldn't get it done. I know that's going to be heartbreak for them. Man, I thought Alex Coffey got third, but I guess the 54 of Mullins snuck in there and stole third away from him. Stayed with the top side here with Blaine Wilson. What a race.
Early race of the year contender there here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We're going to go ahead and send it to a quick commercial break. Stay right here. We'll have post-race coverage at our post-race show right after this on Ballin' TV. And we welcome you back to Atlanta Motor Speedway here. Post-race coverage from Atlanta Motor Speedway after an absolute barn burner of a race here for the Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine 250. We got your top 3 in the chat here tonight. We'll get to talk to all 3 of them in due time. First off, going to be the 54 of Randy Mullins. Randy, you got a...
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Randy Mullins, one of the best pushers, seemingly proving that you're one of the best pushers in this league, especially last week. And of course, this week, getting Shane Davis that stage 1 win. How was that race from your perspective? I know you had a bit of an up and down race in that 54 camp, but you were able to bring home a 3rd position. How was that race from your perspective?
It was good overall. I thought it was good anyway. Hopefully, a good show. I knew track position was going to be key. You didn't want to get really past 6th place, and you wanted to be on the outside. But a few cautions, and then you know how restarts are; they get all jumbled up, and then it's all about finding a good dance partner. And if you don't have somebody that can lead, then it's tough. You start losing positions. I went, I think, all the way back to 19th, and then just started my working my way forward there at the end. I had all intentions of riding in the 3rd stage until about 15 to go, but I had to take off about 18, 19 to go. But my hat's off to Dig. They did a hellacious job. They got formed up. They got to the outside. That's the preferred line. You get out there, you can hold those guys down on the bottom, basically bring them to almost a stop. So they did good. They did good forming up, and again, hats off to them. Congrats to all the big guys, Shane and Blaine on the top 3.
Now, I do have a question for you real quick. We were wondering about it up here in the booth. How close were y'all on fuel in stage number 3? Was it anywhere close at all, or were y'all having to save a little bit at all?
With me being in the draft, I was only about 80% throttle, but I was 3 laps to the good.
3 laps to the good from Randy Mullins. So fuel not really being an issue, but heading into next week, we're going to a completely different style of racing from the 2 plate tracks we've had recently. Headed to the road course at Circuit of the Americas. How are you feeling for that one?
I feel pretty good. I've been testing there for the last 2 weeks, so I'll hopefully come out of there with a top 5. There's some good guys in here. Alex is good. Kenny's good. Hunter's real good. So it's not going to be all about speed next week. There's about 1 passing zone on that new configuration. Other than that, you're going to have to probably get in the back of somebody or just ride, and hopefully your strategy can get you in front of them. So at the end of the day, man, if I can come out of there with a top 5, I'll be happy.
And lastly, anyone you want to thank? Who gets it done for you every week?
I want to thank my teammate, Chris Davis, my other teammates in my other league, Paradigm Motorsports, Josh, Brian, Chris, Brandon. And then I want to thank you guys up in the booth for putting on the broadcast, and Barry for putting on the league.
Well, congratulations on the P3 tonight, Randy. Hopefully we get to talk to you next week at Circuit of the America.
All right, buddy. I hope so too.
That's Randy Mullins, your 3rd place finisher, and now we get to speak with your 2nd place finisher in, I believe it was Blaine Wilson in the number 18. Blaine, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you came up 1 short for the 2nd week in a row in that number 18. Talk me through what's going through that mind of yours right now.
Well, if we can get a top 3 at a super speedway, that's a day well done. We're outnumbered as a team when we come to these type of tracks by a lot. So we all get very coordinated. We work very well together, and when we get hooked up, we'll put a clinic on them. I don't care how much numbers they have on us, and we did. So it was a great race.
Yeah, absolutely dominating that that 3rd stage on that outside line. No one really able to get even. What was the plan heading into that final 10 laps when, of course, the Beast Mode Performance guys and then eventually the Team Aero guys were starting to get their runs?
Well, to be honest, when we're sitting in the middle lane like that, I was completely comfortable, especially with another teammate behind us. Because you go to the bottom, we're going to side draft you, the lane's going to stop. With how tight it is, too, you're already lifting big time when you get into that corner down there. And nobody's really going to pull out to make a 3rd line because, once again, it's tight, tires are hot, you're just going to slide right up into the wall. So I wasn't even concerned with any sort of run happening to us. When I saw how good we were doing, just the 3 of us, I knew it was over as long as something crazy didn't happen. And I was definitely, we have team orders that we all go for the win. We don't do any of that petty pushing teammates to the win because they're good guys. They're good guys, but I'm going to go for that win every time, man. I just couldn't get a run on them. So he got it this time.
Now, I'll pose the same question to you that I asked Randy, because I know you're such a big fan of Circuit of the Americas. How you looking forward to that race next week?
Yeah, it'll be fun running that circuit of Randy Mullins. We'll see if we're within 10 seconds of him in terms of lap time. Typically, last year at the road courses, we were not. So we've been putting the work in. We'll see if we can maybe get a top 15. That'll be a wonderful day for me.
Well, Blaine Wilson happy with the top 15, happy with the top threes here at both plate tracks to start this season. Who gets it done for you every week?
Everybody at Dig Esports, I know a lot of the team had issues that can happen at super speedways, but it only took 3 of us to lock it out on the front there. So everybody did very well tonight. The coordination and communication was great. Barry and everyone putting on the league, all the admins for running this, you guys for streaming for us here, COORIDOR Automotive and Tilly's Dent Repair for bringing the fire paint schemes with us every week. And yeah.
Well, congratulations on the P2 tonight, Blaine. Hopefully, we'll get to talk to you next week at Circuit of the Americas.
I'll be trying my damnedest, buddy. Thank you.
As Blaine Wilson, your second place finisher, and now Brandon Edstrom gets to talk to your race winner, Shane.
I'm down here in VANLILYS Stickers Victory Lane with Shane Wyatt. Shane, you had the early mishap early on, missing the wreck, going 3 wide through the middle, then getting wrecked again later on, coming all the way back, getting the pushes of a lifetime from your teammate. Talk to me through stage 3 and how you got it done.
Yeah, I mean, we started real deep in the field. During qualifying, I looked down about halfway through my lap and realized that my brakes were dragging at about 10%. So we started, I think, like 33rd, and then, fought our way back up, narrowly avoided that first wreck. I definitely thought we were killed, but narrowly avoided that, and then, got up to the front, got some more damage, had to start from the back again, got back up to the front, got more damage. It was just back and forth all night, but ended up being in the right place at the right time, which is what it comes down to at these places. And I had 2 phenomenal teammates behind me that, they were pushing me really well, but they weren't getting me all over the place and getting me all out of shape. So huge shout out to them.
Now, with a win early on in the season, can we see more aggression out of you in these later races, just trying to stack up the wins? You're going to help your teammates out at all, or what's your outlook going forward getting a win so early on in the season?
Yeah, it's huge to, already have a win and not have to worry about the playoffs. Obviously, they're all the way in, September or October. So smooth sailing from here till then. But when it comes to the plate tracks, the biggest focus from now until we get to the playoffs is going to be getting another Dig Esports car in Victory Lane. The more of us in the playoffs, the better. And then as far as the rest of the tracks, like you said, just kind of turn up the aggression a little bit because we don't have nearly as much to lose now.
Yeah, with nothing to lose, I know that we'll see more of you going forward. Shane Wyatt, who do you got to thank before we let you go?
Yeah, obviously, SimRap Market. They're on the side of my car every week, no matter what I'm running. They've been with me for, it feels like forever, but I think it's 2 or 3 years now. So huge shout out to Cameron and those guys. Use code Shane23 for 10% off at checkout. SM Racing Products, Richmar Flores, Carpia Screen Printing, as well as obviously Dig Esports. Alex Coffey and Blaine Wilson did a phenomenal job tonight. So feels good, man.
All right, Shane, thank you very much for your time. Good luck next week at COTA. That will wrap it up down here in VANLILYS Stickers Victory Lane. Nick, back up to you.
Well, we got to talk with your race winner, Shane Wyatt, there to finish off our post-race show. We'll take you through our race results real quick. Shane Wyatt, of course, taking the win. Blaine Wilson and Randy Mullins, we talked to your entire top 3. Alex Coffey brings it home in that 4th spot. Kenny Coppola rounds out your top 5. Tim Wortman Jr., Hunter Carmichael, Aaron Matthews, Justin Belmonte, and Brandon Fetterplace round out your top 10.
Yeah, then Barry Sanders, 11th. Shane P. Davis, the heartbreak for him after leading the most laps today, will finish P12. Bob Laskowski finishing 13th, followed by Jordan Schmitz. A great finish for him after all the chaos that he's been through today. Ryan Huff, 15th. Jared Clark, 16th. Darren Mills, 17th. Preston Puryear, 18th. Chris Davis, 19th. And rounding out your top 20 will be Jameson Middlemiss.
21st going to be Paul Gallimore, your final car on the lead lap. Going to be Matt Cox in that 22nd spot. Jeffrey Taylor, Brandon Bikey, Chris Spear, and Nicholas Atwood all finishing 1 lap down in 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th, respectively. Nigel Christensen and Johnny Shade round out your cars that were actually running at the end of the race. They finished 27th and 28th. Kevin Ruth, Victor Fluger round out your top 30. And going through the final 6 cars of this race, 31st place was going to be Corey Moore, Sean Rogers in 32nd, Warren Young 33rd, Matt Mack and Brian Curry and Chad Sullivan round out your 36 car field here tonight. tonight. But that is going to do it here tonight from Atlanta Motor Speedway for the Crazy Chuck's Purple Jesus Moonshine 250 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. It was an absolute barn burner of a race. But before we get going, any final thoughts from you, Brandon?
Yeah, it just goes to show that even after the reconfiguration, Atlanta is still one of the best racetracks. On the circuit. Look forward to coming back here later on in the year. Thank you guys so very much for having me back. Ballin' TV, good to be here. Sean, thank you so much again for producing, and we'll give it to you to send it away, Nick.
Yeah, that'll do it here from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Next week, catch us here on Ballin' TV, same time as we go road course racing here in the Moonshiners Racing League as they head to Circuit of the Americas. It'll be March 5th, next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be right here on Ballin' TV, but for now, we'll catch you later here. Have a great night. Y'all stay safe.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.